you're doing well. I'm wearing some nice glittery gold eyeshadow today. The kind of bummer thing about that is I'm going to be showing you how to throw off the hump or the mound, however you like to refer to it. So we're going to be a lot more focused on the clay than on my beautiful makeup job today. But c'est la vie. So the purpose of throwing off the hump or throwing off the mound is that you can center one lump of clay and throw a bunch of tiny little guys off of it without having to re-wedge, recenter a bunch of teeny little bits of clay. Centering a very small amount of clay is actually quite challenging, so it's easier to center 2, 3, 4, 5 and on up pounds and throw a bunch off of it than center a bunch of little quarter-pound or less pieces. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to tilt this down for you guys so you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. See? There goes the makeup. So I already threw a bit, so it looks a little funky here, but it's just mostly centered by big mound. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect, that big mound, because as you see, I'm going to cone up a littler chunk, and we're just going to work right off the top there. Okay, so what things that I want to have handy before I get started? Clay. Sponge, whatever you normally throw with if you want to do that. Your needle tool, wire tool, a wear board, peg, Harderbacker, whatever you use, something that you can just take these off and put them on, and a studio towel. You can see I'm throwing with this beautiful red clay called Smooth Red from Clay Planet. It's going to stain my clothes, so these are clothes that I do not care if they get stained. Might even stain my hands, so for a couple of days after this, I'm gonna, not want to commit any crimes because I'll get caught red-handed. Get it? Sorry guys, had to happen. So what I do is, again, more or less center my bigger lump of clay, cone, bring this up, make sure that the portion that I'm gonna throw is actually quite centered. Same as normal, just smaller area and more delicate touch. When I open down, I just barely am gonna open down. I'm only open down till not even the first knuckle of my finger. When I throw off the hump, I really need to compress the bottom of my clay, otherwise I'm much more likely to get S-cracks. And as I do that, especially this is quite a soft clay, this, not even up to my first knuckle, now we're getting pretty much in the middle there, or it's the deepest, we're getting well past my first knuckle. So just be aware of that. I'm going to make myself a little ridge here that I can throw. Now I'm going to throw for height. Remember, when I throw for height, whatever fingers that you use, it doesn't really matter if you use a sponge, that's fine as well. Just be sure that when you are throwing for height, your inside fingers and your outside fingers, knuckle, I use my thumb, whatever, are offset. So the ones on the inside are slightly higher than the ones on the outside. These are going to push out this ridge of clay. These are going to be underneath, supporting and walking that ridge up. Not directly offset. Okay, so here we go. You'll see the wheel speed when I'm centering is quite fast. With each subsequent step it slows down. You see me reaching into my bucket there? I'm just getting slip. I don't need a lot of water. I'm getting slip off my hands. I don't like to throw with slip. I don't need a lot of water. This clay is already quite soft. It doesn't require it, and it's just going to get softer and softer. I've already started pushing out my form. It's just a bowl. I don't really know what it looks like on the outside right now, and I don't really care. The outside is going to get trimmed. The idea is that the outside gets trimmed to match the inside, which doesn't get trimmed. So you care about what the inside of your piece looks like more than the outside. Just making that bowl lip very nice and smooth. I use just the crook of my fingers. Use a handy tool that I will always have. Feel free to use a chamois. piece of plastic, whatever the case may be. You saw me that just then push down and in this clay here. I'm getting ready to be done with that. So as I pushed it down and in, I sort of messed with my shape on the inside, so I just needed to come back in and fix that up. Okay, so this piece is done. I'm done throwing it. You can see it's quite quick. What I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning my hands up a little bit, because when I come to remove this little piece from my mound, if my hands are wet and slippy, they're more likely to stick to the clay piece that I'm trying to remove. Okay, so more or less got the slip off there and just wipe them off. Now is when I take my pin tool, needle tool. Okay, see? Just gonna make myself a guideline here. I leave quite a thick chunk at the bottom when I throw off the mound. This gives me something to grab and hold on to, so that it's easy to do without deforming my shape as I pull it off. I'm putting the wire tool in that groove, that guideline that I created, and I'm going to pull it out. I like to pull it through pretty quick. It has a tendency to flip up as it comes out, but I find if I'm just quick with it, it flips up, but it's already past the point where it's going to hit my piece. When I lift this off, I do not lift it straight. I need to tilt and lift, just like that. Actually left slightly less on the bottom there than I would want. It's very easy for it to deform as I'm doing that. So, but you can see I just dumped it on my wear board real quick. I'll throw you one more. Bring up the section I want to throw, center, slightly open, compress and open further as I do so. Clean off my hands a little bit. Clean. A little bit of water on the inside. Okay. Make a ridge here. Slow. Pull with my fingers offset. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Compress. I'm going to pull my shape out. Watch that rim doesn't get too thin. That's the tolerance on there. Compress and round my rim. Bring this in. Cut my guide. Pull uneven. Get my hands dry. Take my wire, wrap it around my guide, cross them over, pull it out nice and quick, tilt and lift, throw that on my wear board, and then I'm going to continue to throw more and more off the hump. That's it. It's actually pretty easy. It's just challenging when you're switching from throwing something larger to throwing off the hump to get that delicate touch and feel down. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself a few tries, a few goes at it before you really expect that you're gonna be throwing off the hump successfully over and over and over again. But once you do, It's great. People love these little prep bowls for gifts. You can just kind of have a whole bunch. They're great for test tiles as well, because you can see how glazes actually form and pull and move over different surfaces, different shapes, instead of just a one horizontal shape. So vertical. That's horizontal. That one's vertical. Anyway, they're great for test tiles because you can see how they move over shape. And when you just sit down and throw a dozen in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you don't really worry too much if one or two don't come out the way that you want. So they are great for test tiles. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll come back at a later video and show you how we're going to finish those up and the design features that we're looking for on these little prep bowls. Have a good day. Bye.